plug and you don't know. Well, why? I do these things and I don't know. Just trying to go and prove myself to be one of the best I can. Yeah, I wouldn't wanna let you down. I care about the things you said. It's just that I don't see myself. Keep in mind I got longevity deals now. Keep in mind we're getting throwed up out the hills now. Yeah, I've been running off for no reason. Got me looking for something real now. Sipping Henny from the bottle, got my first meal now. Nowhere do I run from, yeah, they don't even know where I'm coming from. Now they all just wanna sing along. Now they all just wanna come along. Oh man, I wanna tap out now.
Anyone else out there dancing? Istiak, you want the music back on?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, we have a great guest today. Istiak, you brought us this guest before we bring him on, David Benjamin. He's very famous. You want to tell us a little bit about your friendship with him?
So I actually met David via, as you know, I'm a member of the Government Blockchain Association. I'm the marketing director there, and I reach out to a lot of folks within the organization just to see, what's going on with them and everything, and try and promote the work they're doing in the blockchain space. And someone recommended, I was looking to decentralize autonomous organizations, and so you have to talk to David. Okay, he's your guy for decentralized autonomous organizations. And he's been working on this for the longest time, just talk to him. And I don't want to spoil anything, but let me be very, very frank. I spoke to him I think for an hour, maybe 2 hours or at best. And what he's working on is just mind blowing. There are so many applications there's so many ways what he's working on is going to benefit us as a society, the entire global community. I think I'm just gonna butcher whatever he says. So let's bring him on. Let him say, tell us what the work he has done so far and where it's all heading. It's heading in a good direction. That's what I'm gonna say. That's all.
Amazing. David Benjamin, thank you for joining us here on the Crypto Genius Show. Welcome to you, sir, from Mexico.
Well, thank you, Marti, Istiaki, and Farah for having me here. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And, you have been in this space quite a long time. And I wonder, where did you get your start? I began, coding in 1979, David. My dad brought home a Texas Instruments TI-99 4A computer, and we put it on the rug in front of a Philco console TV that was made out of wood. And the TV was your monitor, and we had to disconnect with a screwdriver the antenna on the roof to connect the computer to the back. And that's when I got started. So will you tell us about your journey?
Mine was a little bit later than that, although I think that we had one of those TI-99s. I just didn't get into it. But I didn't get into actually doing any kind of programming. I started actually coding in, I guess it was around 96 or 97. I was working with a very, very small company on one of the first intranets. It was for a company called Bay Networks, and we were implementing, I don't know, I'd like to say kind of the beginning of a Salesforce like application. It never got anywhere like Salesforce, but it was for the salespeople out in the field to be able to access information from the corporate databases, which was something at the time when the internet was just beginning, you didn't have that capability. So that was my first time coding. And I did that for 2 or 3 years. And as I said, that was the first, one of the first intranet applications. I got into decentralization though around 2002.
Oh, 2002. Okay. And
yeah.
what brought that on?
Well, when my daughter was 2 weeks old, her mother put her on my chest and she inched up into my neck. I felt her, I smelt her, I heard her. And this amazing feeling, a pulse of energy went all the way through my body. And I knew at that moment that this was the most important relationship in my life. Didn't know how, but I knew I had changed. Like, I was a different person. A couple weeks later, it came to me that I need to be able to look her in the eyes when she's a young adult and tell her that I did everything I could to make this a more beautiful, loving, and peaceful place. And so that launched me into now a 19-year quest. And my work on in decentralization started at that point, or well, that was the inception of it, and the initial realization came several months later when I started working on localization, relocalization. How can we start producing more of the energy, food, water that we need? How can we produce that locally? How can we create local economies? Did that on a global basis with the Post Carbon Institute for about 2.5 years, and then started working on that for the Bay Area for an organization called Bay Localize.
Nice. Marti, are you still here?
Oh yeah, I'm still here. I'm just putting you guys on the spot a little bit. I don't want to hog the microphone too much, so.
Okay. Well, I can continue and just say that I spent all this time thinking about decentralization, but it was all about real world, tangible things, and it did not extend into the world of computers, technology. And what I realized after about 8 to 10 years of working on decentralization of energy, of water, of food, that unless we have the technology aspect of it as well, it's really difficult, especially to do any of the organization, the organizing, the management of these things without having it done on a computational basis. And in 2011, I took some time out from doing the decentralization of food, energy, water, and the organization of humans around that. And I was really just burned out from dealing with adults. And I decided to start a children's entertainment story brand, and spent a bunch of time doing that. That actually failed in 2017, and it was really hard at a moment. But what I did at that time was ask myself, how could this be the best thing ever? And I know that's kind of a hard thing to kind of grasp, because I had worked on something for about 6 years and spent a lot of money and brought in investors, and it failed. But what I realized, what came to me through asking that question is, no, you're supposed to be focused on this other project. You're supposed to be focused on Bridget, and go ahead, go forth on Bridget, make that happen, and you can come back to this children's entertainment story world, Pacha's Pajamas. And so that was the inception of me really jumping deep into the world of blockchain in late 2017, and figuring out how it can be used to really transform our relationship with the web.
Yeah, I talk a lot about failure too, and being a failure and becoming a failure was one of the greatest accomplishments in my life and time on earth. And it's amazing, people who have never failed, they don't really understand that it's a fortunate attempt in learning. fail, and how important it is to fail. So as a bankrupt myself, people that are like, I would say cocky, David, stupid, which I probably was for a long time being in the American military. A psychotherapist said to me one time, you've been living off the white man's bread for a long time. And I was so pissed off about that comment. I was like, I've been living off the white man's bread for a long time. I've been in the military. Like, I gave my whole life to this country for 21 years. I'm not living off of anyone's bread. I was paid like crap and shit and not remunerated very well. And, I'm here actually to get help from you. So she's like, well, what I mean by that is you've been very privileged with your free dental care, your free medical care, your prescriptions, everything. They take care of you like a baby in the military, everything you need. I was like, well, it definitely wasn't like a damn baby. I can tell you that. Okay. I've been everywhere from the deserts to the jungles of the DMZ and stared right into the eyes of a North Korean soldier with a machine gun in his hand, right in the eyes, 10 feet away. Okay. And listen to 50 caliber machine gun light up the river in the DMZ. So it definitely wasn't, but failure is so important. And in those days, honestly, David, I had that attitude of like, I don't think anyone has anything to learn from a failure. Okay. Thanks so much. It's like, actually you do. If you've never been bankrupt before and never run anything into the ground, we look for people like that to work on teams because they're super, super ass cautious and very concerned about, like everything we're doing and like, hey, that's a little aggressive. Let's not go that crazy. I've been down that route before and it leads to failure and bankruptcy. We're not going to take 190,000 and put it into, we don't actually need to open up an office building and have 38 people hired within 2 weeks. That's crazy. There's lots of things that people that have failed that bring to the table. Could you talk to us a little bit more about your philosophy on the benefits of failing?
Yeah. So I'll say that one of my philosophies for life in general is to live the story that you want to tell. And failure is obviously something that happens all the time. Or and maybe I should step back and say making mistakes and having outcomes that either you controlled or you didn't control happens all the time. And maybe a failure is a big example of something like that, something that happened and it had very strong consequences. But as I said, my way of thinking about things is to live the story that you want to tell. So whether it's some kind of bad outcome or so-called bad outcome that I controlled, or it happened somehow without my control, just happenstance or serendipity, or something actually some big failure, I think about it at that moment and say, okay, from this moment on, what do I want to tell as the story? 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 3 years from now, what do I want to say about this moment and what I did? Whether it's emanating from a failure or from some kind of bad outcome that happened to me or happened because of me, what do I want to say about that moment? What is that story? And that story is what I then endeavor to live. I put that in place. It's an example of this. How can I make this the best thing ever? Or how can this be the best thing ever? Or how can I make this the best thing ever? Or how can I make this something good? Is how I think about these moments of upset, whether they're from a massive failure or something happening to me or someone else that we don't like. And I just find these to be amazing jumping off points. I mean, even if it's just something random that kind of messed up my day, and maybe it's going to cause a problem for me down the line. Oftentimes I'll say, okay, what can I do differently today than I would have done if I didn't have that thing happen? Just so that thing that happened can be a catalyst for something different, something positive.
That's right, a catalyst. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wanted to take a look at your website, so I'm wondering if we can bring that up now and show us a little bit about what's going on and what you're doing. I'll just share the screen here, and I've got it ready to rock. So let's take a look at the site, and I'm going to enable audio on this in case for some reason we want to run anything with audio. But we're going to run over here now, guys. We'll get a little screen, I think, that kind of comes down. And let me see if you guys can see Bridget.io. Let me check here. Let's try that again with share screen. Seems a little bit sluggish today. And I know that Farah, gosh, your power went out. Holy heck. Y'all doing okay over there?
Yeah, actually, I managed to somehow put back the power together, just using some lights and all. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is David's website. Am I saying this correctly? Bridget.io?
Bridget.io. Yeah, like
okay.
Bridget. It actually started with the notion of a bridge.
Okay, and here is the bridge right here, in fact. So I see join the canopy movement and the bridge patent.
Yeah, so we got this patent a couple years ago, and it's essentially a patent that I think is going to change the world. We'll see, but it's about a conceptual link between a piece of content on one page to a piece of content on another page with a relationship. So you can imagine a contradictory bridge from a sentence in a news article to a segment of a video where the person in the video segment is saying something that contradicts what was written in the news article, in that sentence of the news article. And then this idea is to be able to provide context to anything that you see on the web. Right now, when you go to the web, there's no context. In fact, the web is more or less a massively fragmented information ecology, where all the information, more or less, is in silos. The people are in filter bubbles, and when they use search, they are in search bubbles. So we have this incredible, almost unbelievable fragmentation that needs something to connect it. And my observation was that, although the internet itself is inherently feminine, because it's really a bunch of machines connecting with each other. That's what the internet is. It's machines connecting with each other to create a network that knows how to communicate within itself. But that, like I said, is really in a way energetically feminine. But the web in its current implementation is what some people might say really a toxic masculine web, where everything is separate. It's all about me, like me, follow me, look at me. And there's no real connection to the notion of truth at all. You can't know whether anything is true or not.
Yeah.
Which, right, that's a super problem for us moving forward.
Absolutely. It's been a huge problem. You can see what's going on.
Yeah. And to be quite frank, the thinking about how to deal with this problem when you force yourself to keep within the existing frame of the internet and don't expand that at all,
Right.
there's not any really good solutions for it.
Well, David, I'm old enough to remember when you told another human business person that you had a website that explained everything about your business plan, the company that's operating, and your proposal, it was actually viewed as childish and would ruin any more talks with them. Just the childish notion that you mentioned you have a website. The whole world was built around papyrus, vellum, papyri, and parchment.
Wow.
And you were expected to bring a proposal that was printed in a beautiful folder, preferably with gold stamp, emboss on the front of the folder, and have papers and charts that you were going to give them on papyrus. Today, most conversations are completely different. They're like, oh gosh, do you have a website? Yes, we do. What's the address? I'd like to look at your whole proposal. Let me see what's going on, what you're doing. So we've put so much emphasis over the past 30 years on having a website that exactly what you're saying, is it actually truthful? Has it been verified? And we see a lot of stuff going on today that people go on the web and they're, oh, well, I read it on the internet that it's okay to drink bleach.
Right.
No, it's not.
Well, what's interesting is those people who looked down on you for having a website and having your material on the website back at that point, they were thinking on a certain level, and they probably never thought that was going to ever really change because they were stuck on that level of thinking.
Yeah. And the dot bubble, further reaffirmed the fact that the internet was stupid and asinine and childish and nothing but a ripoff, scam, and everything to do with this World Wide Web, scam, fraud, false, ripoff. I tried for years and years and years while designing websites starting in 1991 to get people to come over to this philosophy. And we mentioned this yesterday with Jerry Balloon in the free gift show. Just the whole attitude towards people that still come up to us like this show right here, right now, David. Right? Am I not wrong, Farah, when they say you're not on TV? Like, okay, bro, relax, man. We are on TV. I just bought a $4,000 QLED TV at Best Buy. It's downstairs. We watch our shows on TV. They're all in HD 1080i. We are on TV, but it's not real TV, Marty. They're so pissed off, David. Farah, am I not right about this attitude that people have?
Well, it's all right. To each their own, I think. Yes.
It's ridiculous, dude.
But so just to kind of cap this up, I don't think that people who are thinking along the lines of today's internet really have a solution to this fake news thing. And what's needed is another layer on top of the web. You have to have a meta layer on top of the web. It's just not going to work otherwise. And so let me go into explain this diagram, and then we'll talk about the meta layer or the Metaweb. So
yes,
when you want to make a bridge, we have finished this technology. It's in usability testing now, about to be pilots this month. When you want to make a bridge, you basically have to install an overlay. This overlay gives you access to the Metaweb, to this meta layer on top of the web, which means when you go to a piece of content and select it, you actually have some additional options. So you can select the first piece of content, then select the second piece of content, click bridge it, submit the relationship and metadata information. So the relationship can be contradicting, supporting, citing. You also provide an explanation. You provide a category, a topic, and tags. And then once you've submitted it, it goes to what we call the validation queue, which is right near the number 4. And this is a necessary step to validate whether the relationship between content A and content B is correct as specified. And if it is correct, then it's approved and it goes onto the public blockchain. You've made your first bridge. If the relationship is not correct, then someone needs to go back and fix it, whether it's the validator potentially could, fix it, or it could just be sent back to the individual who created the bridge. But the important thing is once you've made a bridge, it self-assembles into a collective learning map or a universal knowledge graph that essentially connects all of the pieces of information from the web in a web-like structure of relationships. And what this means is you now have the possibility of using that information. So you can go down a little bit further.
Okay.
So now, if you see where it says pre-attention, step A. So
yes.
This is before I've actually focused on something that has information in this meta layer, this invisible meta layer that carries information. Now, as you move your attention to it, as in step B, as you move your attention towards it, the item, so content A, starts highlighting, and it has a number in a little circle that pops up. A badge pops up with a number in it. That number is the number of other pieces of information that's associated with that piece of content. And then if you click that, it'll show you the overview of all the bridges and other information that's associated with that particular piece of information. So there could be contradicting bridges, supporting bridges, citing bridges, as well as notes, conversations, polls, and other things.
Very interesting. Yeah.
So imagine this, you're on the web, you're reading something. It's a paragraph, right? Right now, the only thing you can do is read it. You can select it and copy it, cut and paste it. You could right click and have Google do a search for it. That's it though. You
really don't have I mean, it's up to you. Like you want to get your info. I have to watch, honestly, David, about 8 different news channels. I watch the French channel, the BBC. I watch Singapore, Russian television, Bloomberg, MSNBC, CNN, and Fox. I watch about 8 channels to figure out what is really going on. People make comments like, you watch Russian television? I'm like, yeah, I watch RT. You watch French? Who do you watch? Yeah, I watch CNA in Singapore. I'm trying to find out what is really going on, bro. But I'm still at those independent sources. There's no aggregation of, like you say, citation or contradicting or supporting.
Yeah, and there can sometimes be links, but a lot of times the commercial sites don't want to use links. I remember a scenario where I was looking at a news article about an environmental report, and they didn't even link to the report. They linked to their previous stories that were around the same issue, but they wouldn't link to the report, which is crazy to me, right? Because what we're talking about is a situation where everything is in silos. And like you were saying, that forces you as the truth seeker to go out and make all these searches and check out all these different shows for you to then try to make sense of it. But what if you as the this hyper researcher who's doing this was able to then, you look at the French show, you look at the show from the Middle East, you look at the show from RT, in each of them you found clips of information that were relevant for the piece of content on the webpage. Then you attach them with a bridge. And so you had a contradicting clip from RT. You had a supporting clip from SNA, and you had basically this ability to create context around that piece of information, so that then now when anyone else came to that piece of information, they could see all this research that Marti did. And as they found that useful, you actually were getting compensated in tokens for the value that you were creating in the network, because you actually took that extra time to go to SNA's site and RT's site, and you went to YouTube to look at videos, and you did all that research. So let's compensate you, because that's valuable.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break, guys. When we come back, we're going to move into Presence Labs and try to figure out a little bit about what's going on with that. And also, we're going to hit Farah's questions. Farah, you got some good ones today lined up?
I do.
You do?
Yes, I think so.
All right.
Okay. Well, awesome. Istiak, any final comments for your buddy, David? I know you're so proud to have him on the show today.
I think the next part will also blow our mind. That's all.
Yeah, he's got honestly such cool stuff going on, and I have already learned so much about this bridge and the overweb, and I'm able to relate it to, like, what I'm going through, watching all these different news services, trying to find out what the Chinese are saying. This morning, the Malaysian Prime Minister was on speaking, and also from Singapore, they were talking about Omicron and different things that's going on. And so, yeah, this would be like tremendous. Well, guys, we'll be right back. We're going to take a look at Presence Labs when we come back. And then also, like I said, we are going to do Farah's questions. So stick with us. Take about 6 minutes for some commercials, grab a coffee, and see you in a second.
Did you know that at least half of the world's population still does not have access to essential health services? One of the biggest problems in developing countries is the lack of medical monitoring devices. We have a solution. Kipuwex. Kipuwex is an easily attachable, lightweight IoMT device which continuously measures all the clinically relevant biomarkers vital to the assessment of your health. Kipuwex uses smart algorithms to provide efficiently reliable measurements for healthcare professionals. The biomarkers can be monitored remotely, anywhere and at any time, with a mobile and web application. Kipuwex is not limited by physical infrastructure and is suitable for professional use and in the future for home users as well. A simple user interface will let you choose which biomarkers you want to view and displays them on easy-to-read graphs. We here at Kipuwex want to combat healthcare inequality and help millions of people around the world.
Thank you for joining us on the Presents Streaming Network.
Did you ever miss someone who has passed away? Now there's MissuGram app, giving people a brand new way to tribute the lives of deceased loved ones, or simply remember tender memories. This exclusive app is a user-friendly social media platform, giving people everywhere a respectable and comfortable place to create private or public memoriams. MissuGram has additional features like chat rooms and links to deceased databases and inspirational quotes. Users can also comment and connect on public posts. Join us and keep memories alive forever. Everyone wants to be remembered. For more details and download on the Google Play or Apple App Store, visit miss-u-gram.com.
Hey, Chef Outer here. Want to tell you about my Amazon best-selling memoir cookbook, A Chef is Born, chock full of recipes, also ranked the 77th book of all time out of 99, according to the Book Authority.
It's a good book, but it's better chef than you. Yeah.
It's a good book by a better chef than you. What a slam, Farah. That's by the way, Otto's little cousin out of the Philippines came to visit from California and was here all through the holidays recently. Yeah.
Yes.
So they got her to do a commercial. So we're back again, guys, with David Benjamin, and super excited. to have him showcase now for us a little bit about Presence Labs, trying to figure out what this is all about. And we're self-professed here, David. We don't always know what we're talking about. So can you tell us a little bit about Presence Labs?
Yeah, absolutely. So Presence is a company that was formed between Bridget.io, Accelerant Technology Services, and Fourth App. We came together to bring the next level of the web to fruition. And I should step back and say, ask you all, do you know what the big missing feature of the web is?
Well, I already learned today, one of them is the lack of connection and validation of like what you're looking at. So I learned one. So that is definitely missing for sure. What's the next one?
Well, that one is related to what Mark Andreessen, who's a top VC, he's with Andreessen Horowitz, one of the general partners. He also is the father of the browser. He led the implementation of Mosaic, which is the first widely distributed web browser, as well as Netscape. He was a co-founder of. And Mark Andreessen in 2012, when he was investing in Rap Genius, said there were a number of different reasons that he was investing. One was a great team, a lot of traction, one of the best Y Combinator projects. But perhaps most importantly, they were bringing back the big missing feature of the web. And he said the big missing feature of the web is the ability to layer knowledge on top of knowledge. So basically being able to add information on top of a web page. And what's interesting is that this was baked into the web before it was even the web. When we started thinking about computing in this way, Vannevar Bush, as we may think, 1945, he talked about associative trails. Douglas Engelbart, 1969, the mother of all demos, when the mouse was introduced. There was annotation, this notion of annotating a web page. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee, Proposal to CERN for Information Management, there was this notion of annotation as well. So annotation, the ability to layer knowledge on top of knowledge, is one of the big missing features. Actually, I'll say that I actually don't think it's the big missing feature. That's what Mark Andreessen says. I think it's necessary, but not sufficient. So I'm expanding that notion to say that the big missing feature of the web is the computational space above the web page.
Well, I just noticed a pop-up and I signed up to claim my spot. So everyone watching the show, please claim your spot and sign up.
Yeah. So this space above the web page, the computational space above the web page, is the Metaweb. And the Metaweb is this layer on top of the web that you can have information, you can have interactions, you can have transactions, and you can have experiences that are associated with pieces of content on the web page. So here's a piece of text. You can have information like a bridge. You can have a poll, a conversation, interactions. You can have transactions associated with this piece of text, or a part of an image, or a segment of a video, or a segment of audio. All of these pieces of content can have new layers of information, and Presence was built to actually implement what we call the overweb, because the Metaweb itself is the entire space, and the entire space above the web. I think there's going to be some that's kind of like the wild, wild west. That's not what we're trying to create. And maybe one of the other big missing features of the web is knowing that somebody's a real person. Do you know how many fake accounts?
Exactly.
Oh, you know about that.
Oh, we have so many posers, you know, and I mentioned to them, it's like, you know, you go on every page of, this is the basics of marketing and trust. You want people to buy. So every page of our websites, which is like 124 pages total, is our address physically with a brick and mortar operation and a phone number that if you call the phone number, a human answers. And you want to create trust and build trust. And you'll see all of our people, like 32 board members and trustees, their photos are everywhere with a direct link to LinkedIn. There's no hiding. And I tell people this, they're like, well, what do I need to do with my marketing to get more sales? I'm like, how about having an address and a phone number and an email on every page of your website? Well, won't that create like thousands of, I'm like, you just said you wanted more sales. Now I'm sending thousands per week and you don't want to like have it, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. The other week I read about something that I guess intuitively I knew, but I didn't realize that someone had put out the theory, the dead internet theory. And this is basically the notion that much of the information on the web and much of the people and personas on the web are fake. Like, it's just a ton of information that's been created for marketing and a number of fake accounts. There's so many fake accounts that are used to channel the virality of things. Did you know how many fake accounts were taken down by Facebook in 2019 and 2020?
Oh yeah. In fact, they were sued, and I've received some checks for that, for class action lawsuits. Yeah. You get the letter in the mail. It says you're involved in a class action lawsuit. You'll be receiving your check soon.
Farah, how many fake accounts do you think Facebook took down in 2019?
I'm not sure for my side. Yeah.
Marty, how many?
I guess like at least, I think 280 million.
Try 6 billion.
6 billion. There's only 7 billion humans on this planet.
Yeah, well, these are fake ones, right? And what's interesting is Facebook says at any given time, 5% of all the active users are fake. That's 150 million people at any given time that are fake. And if anyone is involved with media like yourselves, you know that it doesn't take 150 million people to make something go viral, or 150 million accounts to make something go viral. Yeah, it might take 50 or 100 or something. So 150 million fake accounts, that's actually creating our experience. It's partially determining what's shown to us in our feeds.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in a way, we're losing cognitive freedom because of all these fake accounts. And that's why we're creating the overweb as something distinct from the Metaweb. So the Metaweb is all the space. We're creating a space called the overweb that has 3 characteristics. There's a pattern. So the first item in the pattern is safe digital space. So safe digital space means that you know that everyone that you encounter in this space, in this overweb, is a real person in good standing with the system. No unidentified bots, no fake accounts, no serial abusers, no throwaway accounts. You have one account, and if you get deactivated, then you have to go through a rehabilitation process to be able to have full access again. And what this means is, if I'm out on the overweb, which is this space above the web page, which I experience as bridges and notes and other things associated with a piece of content on a web page, if I encounter someone, Istiaki, for example, I know that he is a real person in good standing with the system. He's not a scammer. He's not a catfisher. He's not a fake account. He's not an unidentified bot. He's an actual living human. So that's one thing. That's pattern number 1, safe digital space. Pattern number 2 is on-page presence. And with the overweb, if you go to a page, you can choose to go visible on that web page. And if you choose to go visible on that web page, then you can see all the other people that are visible on that same web page at that moment, and ones that had been on that page earlier. So what does that do? Well, that gives you access to the profiles, or a limited profile of what these people are willing to show people they don't know. So then you can say, wow, I'm on the same web page as Farah. I don't know her, but I'm looking here and I see that she's an expert in crypto and that she's an expert in finance, among other things. You know what? I'd like to reach out to Farah. Let me send her a message and see if she'd like to connect. So with this on-page presence, you now have the possibility of connecting with someone that you know is a real person, and you never would have met that person in life otherwise. It also could be, well, I know Istaki, and I see that he's on the same webpage that happens to be an article that I'm reading right at the moment. I see he was there 2 days ago. Oh, well, great. Well, let me reach back out to him again. Let me say hello. We're thinking about the same thing, more or less at the same time. I wonder what his thoughts on this article are. So this on-page presence gives us this possibility of meeting and connecting with people in new ways that are really unprecedented and impossible on today's web. And then the third thing.
I was going to say, David, I would imagine there are people with privacy concerns and GDPR that they wouldn't want to be able to be tracked and for people to see. Like me, I would love to have that, to see people know what I'm reading, to see what I'm looking at, you know.
Yeah, well, you choose to go visible on the web pages you choose to go visible on. And if you don't want to go visible anywhere, you don't have to. And in that case, the experience is just the same as today's web with respect to other people. You wouldn't see anybody and they won't see you. You also, with the safe digital space part of the pattern, you have the ability to have multiple personas, and they can be visibly or invisibly tied to your main account. So it means that you can be out on the web as SkiBum333, but everybody knows that you're a real person in good standing with the system. So you have the privacy, and you also have the ability to meet other people. And I should be clear, with this main account, you as the account holder own your ID. You have the private key. You cannot be unmasked by the system, by any government or so-called authority, because they have to ask your permission to actually fully access who you are with respect to your account.
Right. Well, I'm going to jump into the fun part of the show here that everybody looks forward to and is always talking about. I think you guys know what's getting ready to happen. It's Farah's question time, and she is extremely thought-provoking. She does some research and stuff, and will often ask, like, I need a day to look into some things before I get my questions together, Marty. They're literally that good. So without further ado, we want to jump into Farah's question time.
It's time for Farah's question.
So Farah, over to you.
Right. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, David and Istiak, for bringing David over. Yeah, Marty is just so kind, and I just want to learn more about DAO. Decentralized autonomous organization. So DAO actually automates decision and facilitates cryptocurrency transactions. So how is Patriots DAO different than the other DAOs? And can you also explain on the basics of DAOs?
Yeah.
Or
So I'm seeing everything I do move to being DAOs. And just to be clear, this is a transition for me at the moment. So I'm actually in the process of forming 3 separate DAOs. It's a DAO, I would say, is a software that communicates with a blockchain that enables a community to allocate resources.
Mhm.
And the very clear features of a DAO are the ability for any member to make a proposal and then for the community to vote on that proposal. If that proposal is accepted or approved, then the funds are allocated and the person is able to move forward with the proposal. So it's simply a way for us to manage our activities as a decentralized community. It's a community that doesn't have a head. There's no single organization,
Mhm.
company, or individual
Mhm.
who makes all the decisions. There's no one that is
In
the
control of,
one that you have to look to
yeah,
for the
decentralized.
direction of the organization. It's the community. For the first time, we have
Mhm.
this ability for the community to express itself in this way.
Interact in a safe space. Yes, definitely. And it's really wonderful to see the beautiful graphics that you came up with for Pachaverse. And when I scroll your website, I saw put one of these aside for college savings. And could you also share with us on that project? I think it's a really of interest for ESG investors and even retail investors, definitely. Yeah.
Well, yeah. What's interesting is the Pachaverse is the reboot of Pacha's Pajamas, which was the children's entertainment story world that actually failed in 2017 because, well, I wasn't able to really get the marketing resources I need. But I actually think even beyond that, it wasn't the time. This is a project, Pacha's Pajamas, Pachaverse. This is a project that has this really sweet heart that's about um, a little girl with big dreams. When she goes to sleep, whatever's on her pajamas becomes her dream world. So in the first adventure, she goes to the jungle and meets a jaguar, a hummingbird, a whale, a pebble, a tree, and a mushroom. And they decide to come together to throw the greatest festival in the history of the planet, Pachajama, in honor of Pachamama, which means Mother Earth. And
Pachamama.
yeah, that's what Pacha is short for, Pachamama, Mother Earth. And
Oh.
they, through her adventure of organizing this festival, Pacha learns that we are all connected, that we're connected with ourselves, with one another, and with nature. And I don't think that in 2017 or 2016, 2015, that the world was really ready for that message. And now through COVID, I think we understand how connected we are when we saw this virus just go through the world in a matter of months. And
Yeah.
and also we are starting to realize that we're all connected well beyond this old virus thing, right? We're all dependent on Mother Earth, and who provides our water, our food, our air, our shelter, everything. Yeah, we're all connected that way. The air that we're breathing, that you're breathing, is the same air that I'm breathing. The water
Yeah.
that I'm drinking now has molecules from the same water that dinosaurs drank. I mean, and that you drink. It's all connected. And so this is what this Pachaverse, the new instantiation of the Pacha's Pajamas story, is now. It's now bringing this message that we are all connected to the world through NFTs and the NFT metaverse game. And there's a forthcoming animated series that that we're working on as well.
Yeah, I think it's such a beautiful concept, really, that relates to all of us, And when I see that, and of course, the Pacha NFT is also an interest to us as well. If you can share with us the business model of Pachaverse, I saw that you can stake to earn royalties, and there's also Pachabilities. If you can also explain to us what are those, Pachabilities, metaverse, related to the Pacha NFTs and all that. You can
Yeah,
just
well, the business model for us right now is really it's simple to get the the Pachaverse and Pacha's pajamas story world into the minds of children so that they can know that we are all connected. And the way that we're starting out is by giving away a a series of NFT books. There's a picture book
yes.
when she's 3 years old. There's a
Mhm.
early reader rhyming book where she's 7 years old. We also have the young reader book, which was published in 2016 by Morgan James, which is a publisher out of New York. But these two younger books, they are just fabulous and beautiful, and it's really leveraging on the notion that we have multiple dreams in our lives. So we're giving away, it's a free mint
We
of
have 3 minutes.
both the picture book and the early rhyming book, and we're going to give it away in Spanish, in English, and then if anyone is willing to translate it, we will give the translation, and we will give away the book in whatever other languages that people would like to have that done in a pre.
Oh, that's wonderful. Perhaps you can translate it to Malay for you. I can do that.
Yeah,
So
Bahasa,
wonderful.
right?
Yes, Bahasa Melayu. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I can send over a Google slide where it has English and they just get converted, and we get consensus on that, and then we can do a free mint of 10,000 NFT books. So we're gonna do that to get the word out. And as we give away that book, we're gonna be doing a sequence of collections of NFT collections for the Pachaverse. So people will have the books. Well, if someone wants to buy an NFT of the illustration in the book, well, yeah, they could do that.
Yeah.
They want to buy Pacha trading cards, yeah, they could do that. And all these NFTs will give the user access to the metaverse game. You could say it's a play to earn, but really, we're even more excited about the notion of perform to earn, where kids and adults, they can both play, but it'll be separate universes. Essentially, they'll be separate. But you perform in open mics at stages at each of the different biomes that are around the stadium in the Pachajama Festival. So there's a underwater biome, there's a savanna biome, there's a jungle biome, there's a temperate forest biome, there's a mountain and Arctic biomes. So each of those has its own open mic stage, and you can perform on those stages to earn tokens and NFTs. And if you do well, then you can go to the stadium and perform on the stadium. Each of these NFTs that I was talking about earlier, the trading cards, the illustrations in the book, all of those give you access to the metaverse where you can perform to earn tokens.
And I think
Awesome.
we have to have him on the free book show, the free gift show, to talk
Yes.
about Pachaverse. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. One last question, David. On the pre-sale, can you just give us a heads up about that pre-sale for the
There's a pre-sale of tokens that's starting later this month. It'll probably be sometime after January 15th, and it will allow people to essentially purchase tokens, Pacha tokens, for this NFT metaverse, this this world, this Pachaverse world, at a highly discounted value. Basically, it's a pre-sale where the price escalates as people purchase tokens. So initially, the value of the token is basically 5 cents, and through the pre-sale period, which is a $2 million raise, the price will go up to over $2. So those who get in early will get a highly discounted rate compared to those who come in at the end.
Is there any chance of seeing it pop up on Trust Wallet?
That's an interesting question. I need to investigate that a little bit more. That has come up, and yeah, we just haven't done the research yet. But I think it's possible because it is an ERC token, and my understanding is any ERC20 token should be able to come up on Trust. But,
yeah, I also wanted to mention the Ladybug Boy from Tita Kote, Tita Quisma. I see a parallel here with the Ladybug Boy possibly coming in as part of the Pachaverse.
The Ladybug Boy, tell me more.
The Ladybug Boy is very famous from Finland. Yeah, and he does a lot of the same things, teaching children to be unafraid. And yeah, this is a creation of Tita from Finland, who's part of our group. And I really think I see a lot of parallels here. It would be wonderful to see the Ladybug Boy possibly be able to come in somehow, because he walks around and he looks like a little ladybug, but he's obviously a small boy, and he's got a ladybug for a back. And I'll just share Tita's profile with you here so that we can make a love connection, because I see a lot of possibilities.
Possibilities, yes.
If I might.
I hope I'm not, possibilities.
Yeah. I hope I'm not being too corny all of a sudden.
No, not at all. I think it's a great idea, actually. I'd love to
sometimes the corny alarm goes off here, and sometimes the soap opera alarm goes off. Okay, I'm getting clapping now. All right, so I'll take the clapping instead. But Tita, she is the founder of the Happy Ambassador. So this is one of her companies. And, part of that, you can see here the Happy Ambassador concept with the Ladybug Boy. They work with a lot of schools and teachers to promote learning through play and exploration. They make learning more fun. And his little adventures that he goes on are all based in early education. So I got to hook you guys up with all of this for the Happy Ambassador. You can see just some of the imagery here of the Happy Ambassador with the Ladybug Boy. He's actually the ambassador. You can see a lot of it is like, might even fit in with some of your cartoonery.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested in doing collabs with aligned story worlds. I think it's a really interesting possibility.
These guys are very famous inventors like you as well. And they're out of Finland. So, her main squeeze is Marco. And Marco Hoinala is a very famous inventor. And so they constantly hang out with each other and do all types of invention on a continuous basis. Here she is doing some presentations for the Happy Ambassador and the whole concept. And she's got different little videos and things of him, the Ladybug Boy and his adventures in life. So, nice. Yeah, I'll try to hook you guys up. There he is playing soccer.
There he is. The Ladybug Boy. Okay.
But her inventor main squeeze is Marco Hoinala, and Marco has authored 6 patents. He's the inventor of C Micro and KeepAWex. You may have watched his commercial earlier for KeepAWex. and he's won 3 different innovation competitions. So
Wow.
in addition to that, I mean, we obviously would like to have you with the book when you print, and typically on the free gift show, people will give away a book and ship it out to the winner. It's a little complimentary thing we do on the free gift show, and we have a lot of authors on there.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's definitely talk as soon as we're getting that in place for the free mint.
And Farah, did you have any additional items?
No, I think I am done for the questioning part, but it's really splendidly explained by David. Thank you so much, David. Perhaps Istiak have any question? Istiak?
So this is something I don't tell everybody. All right. But when I first returned to Bangladesh, after living abroad for 9 years in Singapore and UK, I got scammed. Okay. And since then, I think there's always been this, thing in me to look for solutions that kind of, take the smoke screen out of these people who, like the David said, right, 6-8 billion Facebook accounts, fake Facebook accounts, right? This is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the solutions that David is working on. He's bringing about a level of transparency and accountability that everybody kind of aims for, but I feel like no one's really doing. I'm excited, basically. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I think what he's working on, it's going to help a lot of people. Like, someone is, I used to consider myself very intelligent until I got scammed. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I may have to, do a retake on that, all right? But having a solution like his around, which kind of makes certain that real, genuine people are, able to, use the internet, and those bad actors actually get kind of a timeout. They're not exactly forced out of the internet or whatever, but they get a timeout and say, listen, you can come back and fix your behavior, don't go scam people anymore, and you're good to come back in. That's it. I think it's a good way forward, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Well, we're going to be super excited to have you on the free gift show, and please keep us informed. I want to put my money to work at Trust Wallet. That's where I do everything through Trust Wallet for my soft wallet. And if I know it's coming up and available on day one, I'm a very famous early adopter. Please, David, me especially, just let me know. Hey, Marty, in 2 days, it's been approved for Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet is fantastic. It's used the world over. And in 2004, David, I got involved with Reid Hoffman. I was one of the first 17 million early adopters to come on and try to start this LinkedIn thing. And many people said it was childish and, another stupid thing to waste your time on. And I think we're very close to 1 billion members now. So we believe in you and what you're doing. We're very impressed with your presentations today. And I want to just thank you so much from everybody at the Crypto Genius Show.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
I really, really enjoyed the conversation. Absolutely.
Well, take care, guys. See you soon for another show. And we'd also like to have you on the Inventopedia show, is beginning later this year in 2022.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Have a great one.
Marti, see you guys.
Thank you for joining us on the Presents Streaming Network.